take a look at this. I have something really powerful for you, something that nobody else is going to share with you on this planet. This is something really amazing because for those of you that have a lot of negative accounts on your personal credit reports that need to be removed or positively updated to your benefit, then you need this letter. So I'm going to explain to you in this power-packed video exactly what this letter is, why it's different than all my other dispute letters, and how this can shave off tons and tons of negative accounts on your personal credit reports within the next 7 days or so, provided that you use this very special letter. So let's get into it. Okay, so you're probably wondering, well, Monica, I already have your dispute letters, and if you don't, by the way, you can go to a website down below in the description box, and you can actually get my free credit dispute letters, 100% for free, and you just go to that website and you can get it immediately and instantly as a download. And so you're probably thinking, okay, Monica, I already have your dispute letters, I've already used your dispute letters, what's so different from this letter? Well, let me explain to you a little bit about how the dispute process works. So whenever you are dealing with any accounts on your personal credit report that you would like removed, which ideally is any and all accounts that are negatively impacting your personal credit, you probably want them removed permanently, then you're going to have to start the process of doing disputes. Now, a lot of people like to do it the cheap and easy way by going online, doing an online dispute. And that's a no-no, because if you want to solidify, like basically gorilla glue that negative profile on your personal credit, then go ahead and do it online, because what ends up happening is it permanently basically leaves it on your personal credit reports. Now, if you want these negative accounts removed as if they never existed at all, then you're going to have to put some elbow grease into the process and actually do some offline disputing, which means offline is sending letters the good old-fashioned way. Okay, so you're going to have to send letters to all 3 credit reporting bureaus, which are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. All right. And what you do is you basically say that you need them to investigate these accounts because these accounts are, either not yours because maybe they really aren't yours, or they're inaccurate. And how can you legally say that they're inaccurate is probably what you're wondering. And the answer is because 9 times out of 10, or I should say 99.99% of the time, they actually have the wrong amount because they are charging you some kind of compounded interest, fines, fees, etc. that don't match from one credit report to the next. So for example, you have 3 credit reports. You have Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. If you actually take a look at all 3 of them side by side, I can guarantee you that, pick any charge-off account you might have or any, credit card that's closed that you still owe money to, and all 3 credit reports will have a completely different amount, which means somebody's lying somewhere because they all can't be right. There cannot be 3 different amounts that you supposedly owe that are vastly different from one to the next, which means it needs to be investigated because obviously something is wrong. So you, by you basically saying, hey, you need to investigate these accounts because they're wrong, you're not lying, they're wrong, right? And so my dispute letters allows you to actually send these letters off to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion and include every adverse account that you want looked at and ideally removed permanently. Now, this works best with closed accounts, like we're talking about closed credit card accounts, charge-off accounts, especially credit collection agencies. Those are like the easiest to get off, especially if they're older, like 3, 4, 5 years plus. Those are the easiest to get removed because technically they're not going to have any of the information to be able to send back to the bureaus when the bureaus are like, this person's saying that this is not correct. Can you show some proof that this is their account? And then they're not going to be able to get back in 30 days to the credit reporting bureau, which if they don't get back to the credit reporting bureau, then guess what? It has to be removed immediately. So this is why we like to do the sneak attack by way of doing offline or mailing out the letters directly to the bureaus. So you guys probably already know that. You're probably like, Monica, this is nothing new. So here's the deal though with letters. Nowadays in our highly sophisticated technological world, you're going to find that even though a physical human being will open the letters, these letters are generally put through a machine, and then the machine does all the work, right? So it's just basically not much different than you trying to do a dispute online. It's gotten to that point, unfortunately. So what do? Well, I've had a really successful run with writing handwritten letters. However, it takes a lot of time, especially if your handwriting's not that good or you get cramped up in the hand like I do. to be able to do a handwritten letter. So there is a second best option for you to be able to do a handwritten letter using handwriting fonts. So here's a website down below that you can use to get free handwriting fonts. So typically what you'll do is you'll go to the website, you'll find the handwriting or handwritten font. There's like a whole bunch of categories at the very top of the website. You want to find the one that says handwriting, and you want to find a good handwriting font that looks like maybe somebody wrote in marker or somebody wrote in pen or something like that. And you'll follow the instructions to download the font into your computer, and what ends up doing is it'll update. Say for example you're using Microsoft Word, which all my templated letters are in Microsoft Word, by the way. And so the next time you open up Microsoft Word, you'll see the handwriting font in there as one of the font options in the pull down menu. So you'll take one of my dispute letters, one for Experian, one for Equifax, and one for TransUnion. You need to send a letter to each one of them separately, ideally with trackable mail, which means that there's some kind of tracking number so that you know exactly when they received it. You don't necessarily have to do signature confirmation, but you do have to have tracking. Okay, it doesn't have to be certified or anything like that, just trackable. And so what you want to do is take my templates, but you want to change the font into something that is handwriting. Okay, and you might even want to go a step further, and if you have a color printer you might want to use blue or some other color, and you want to change the font. Now it has to be legible, but you want to make sure that it looks like handwriting. Now why do you want to do this? Well, what ends up happening is that when you have handwriting, especially of multiple fonts, say for example you use one type of font and then a different type of font and then another type of font, you'll notice I have highlighting there. All this stuff confuses the computer system. So basically what ends up happening is that when they're feeding these letters into their gigantic, system, the system is not able to pick it up. So most of the time when they get these handwritten letters, they have to have a human being enter them into the computer system and actually do the dispute that way. That's when you'll notice that more things will start to fall off your personal credits, because a physical human being is having to deal with and do the process, and it's not a computer that is haphazardly and in most cases not actually doing any kind of investigation or dispute on your behalf. And so that's what you want to do, is do whatever you can to eliminate and take out the AI and the technological aspect of the disputing process. And so that's what you're doing with the handwriting. Now you're probably wondering, well, Monica, if I actually do a handwritten letter, will that be beneficial to me? Well, if you want to spend time doing handwritten letters, go for it. If you have decent handwriting that's legible. Most people in today's society do not have legible handwriting, and so that might actually hurt you more than help you, especially if they can't read anything that you're writing. So if you have decent handwriting and you're willing to take the time to handwrite out 3 different letters, again, one to Experian, one to Equifax, and one to TransUnion, then by all means, knock yourself out. Go ahead and handwrite it, ideally in, like, say, blue ink, for example. And then you want to mail them out. Again, you need to mail them out U.S. Postal Service trackable mail, and it's going to be going to a P.O. box, one to Experian, one to Equifax, one to TransUnion. And you want to be able to mail it off, so that you get tracking and know exactly when they received it. Again, you do not need signature confirmation. You do not need certified mail. You don't have to spend the extra money on that. So that's what you should do, and you need to do it to where you're choosing the letter that says, this information is inaccurate, and as per federal law, you do need to investigate this as per my request, and you basically list off all of the negative accounts that you are disputing. So what I would do is start off with the accounts that are closed. Those are the accounts you want to start off with. Credit collection agencies are the easiest to get removed, especially if they're older. You want to also remove anything that's a charge-off or any closed loan account or any closed credit card account, but the key word there is closed, okay? Inevitably, somebody always asks me in the comment section, well, can I do this late pay one? Don't do any late pay ones. Those are open revolving accounts. Anything that's currently open and revolving, you do not want to touch that right now. Later on, we can tackle those down the road. Today, right now, when we start off the dispute process, we do not want to touch those until later. You don't want to also touch a bankruptcy, because bankruptcies are a little more complicated and require some different kit gloves to deal with. I have other videos about bankruptcies. Then this is not the time to be including the bankruptcy. If you have a foreclosure, again, that's a little bit different, but technically it's considered a closed account. You can put that on there if you really want to. It might fall off. Who knows? It might be through a bank that doesn't exist anymore, especially if it, is a bank that was bought out by somebody else. So by all means, try the foreclosure if you'd like. If it's a repossession of a car, definitely put that on there. So again, closed accounts, nothing open right now, nothing that's revolving right now, no late pays. We're not doing any of that right now, okay? And include it on your handwritten letter. Choose any of your handwriting fonts. You can use 2 or 3 different handwritings if you want, because you could download as many of these free handwriting fonts as you want into your Microsoft Word program. So this is a really cool way to get stuff off your personal credit as quickly as possible, as painlessly as possible. And you keep sending these letters out until the stuff starts to fall off, or until you need to go into what we call phase 2, which is pulling out the big guns, which is filing complaints with the Attorney Generals for every single creditor and for every single credit reporting bureau, and then also filing federal complaints against all of those parties as well. And then the final step, of course, if none of this stuff comes off, is to start filing lawsuits. And in the future video, I'm going to talk about how the quick and easy way is to effortlessly not only file lawsuits against all your creditors and the credit reporting bureaus as well, but how you can actually make money off of them with your lawsuit. So make sure that you give me a nice thumbs up for the content in this video, as well as subscribe to my channel, so then that way you can get that new video where I can show you exactly how you can profit from suing your creditors with a quick and easy app that I find is absolutely phenomenal when it comes to filing lawsuits. And you definitely want that video, because that video could not only get all the stuff that's not coming off, the tough things that are not coming off your credit within, like, you know, a 7 to 14 day period, but you can also make some money off your creditors for violating the law as well. And that's a nice little cherry on your cake, isn't it? All right, this is Monica Mean signing off, and I will see you in the next video.